Hi, everyone. Welcome to the breakout session, Engineering to Transform Customer Experiences, hosted by Shein. Super excited to have you all join us today. I will be introducing our speakers shortly, but first, I just wanted to share a couple reminders. One, feel free to utilize the chat during the session to share conversations and your thoughts on what's being presented. Remember to keep your messages to the topic of the session and note that the presenters and speakers can see the chat. Our team will also be monitoring the chat and we'll make sure that questions get answered when we get to the Q&A portion. You can share those in the Q&A section. And then following the section, we just ask that you complete a very brief feedback survey so that we can make these events even better for next year. So with those reminders out of the way, I would like to bring up our first speaker from the Shein team, Mr. Cameron Rand-Luby, Senior Talent Acquisition Partner.
Thank you for that introduction. Again, my name is Cameron Rand-Luby. I am a Senior Talent Acquisition Partner here at Shein, and we're very excited to be talking with CodePath in our partnership with EES. And we're going to go over the company, and we're very excited, always looking to diversify our candidate pipeline, and that is that. If you move to the next slide, please. So with my background specifically, I started as a recruiter at an agency, and I've been doing technical recruiting for over 5 years now. Specifically with Shein, I started in 2022, and I've seen a lot of growth that we've had. I went to school originally, University of Colorado Boulder, and I studied economics. If we move to the next slide, we'll make an introduction for Dan.
The engineering leadership, U.S. engineering leadership here at Shein. I've spent over 20 years in software development. Most of it has been at startups. But I've also spent some time in large global organizations like LinkedIn, Microsoft, and now Shein. They asked me what my hobbies were for this slide, but I've got 2 small children. So honestly, I spend most of my time yelling at the top of my lungs or eating leftover food like half-eaten chicken nuggets and pizza crusts. Let's hand it back to Cam for the next slide.
Thank you, Daniel. And so a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with Shein, as a company. And as you probably know, it's an e-commerce marketplace, mainly offering apparel items, but we have made a push to move into other categories like home decor, beauty, cosmetics as well. And it's a Chinese-founded company originally in 2012. We're headquartered now in Singapore, and it's a global company serving over 150 different countries. And 30% of our market is actually here in the U.S. But having that said, we didn't really start scaling up our team until about really mid 2021. And so today specifically, we'll be talking about Shein technology. And if we can move to the next slide, please. In parallel with Shein Technology, we have our 2 sister companies, Shein Distribution and StyleLink Logistics. Shein Distribution has all the traditional departments like HR, product marketing, legal, you name it. Over 500 employees here in the US. And then StyleLink Logistics has over 1,000 employees. We have just about 10 distribution centers that we've launched in the US. We already have a presence in Canada, Mexico, and we're going to continue to grow. Shein Technology is comprised of largely cybersecurity. We have security engineering, security operations, governance, risk, and compliance, and a robust software engineering team that Dan leads. Beyond that, we also have global enterprise IT, site reliability engineering, big data, and machine learning AI as well. And we can go ahead and move to the next slide. So that is spread out, with offices across the U.S. We have our LA headquarters, hubs in San Diego, Palo Alto, Bellevue, Washington, Seattle, and Philadelphia, DC, and Whitestown, Indiana. And we can move to the next slide. So we have a video that we wanted to play for you guys.
One of the biggest questions we get here at Shein is how our prices are so affordable. The answer is actually pretty simple. We begin the design process with you, the customer. When Shein drops a new style, we start with a small batch order of only 100 to 200 units. Because Shein doesn't have physical stores, there's no need to produce thousands of units at a time. Then, we use innovative technology to track which items are trending in real time and quickly stock more to meet your demands. With this unique approach, Shein aims for variety over volume, offering more of the items you love and less of the ones you don't. We've cut inventory waste to a fraction compared to traditional retail stores. And the best part is that we pass those savings directly to you. At Shein, we're proud to be your fashion destination for on-trend styles, and our business model makes it possible. To learn more, visit sheingroup.com.
Great. Yeah, and we can go ahead and move to the next slide. And so, as I mentioned previously, since 2021, we have scaled up our technology arm, Shein Technology, pretty rapidly, and we, have some growth that we're going to continue through this year and into 2025. And the main sell that I always say across the board, and specifically with positions on our software engineering team, are definitely no exception, is that you have a very unique kind of combination of factors right now, where you have like the backing and funding of a large company like Shein, but at the same time, we are functioning realistically in many respects like a startup, and so there's definitely an opportunity, for like personal progression, as well as like making a big impact on the work you're doing that you wouldn't really have in a more established base. And across Shein Technology, there's definitely that opportunity, specifically with the positions on Dan's team that I'll talk about. Very interesting stuff that he and his team are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dan to give you guys a better understanding of what his team does.
Cool. Thanks, Cam. So I think why you're all here is that Shein has done things that no other tech company has ever done, to create and bring you affordable products that you love. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about how our US-based software engineering team, which is relatively new, is a part of that. So next slide, please. So first of all, just a little bit about the team. So we're a small but mighty, and hopefully with your help, growing team of 7 right now, in 2 locations. So San Diego and Bellevue, just outside of Seattle. But we're part of this 100-strong global organization, with folks in locations like Singapore and China and Europe. Our team members have anywhere from literally 0 to 20 plus years, or in my case 150 years of professional work experience. And we do true full stack software development. So our main focus is on building backend microservices, using technologies like Java 8, Spring Boot, MyBatis, MySQL. We have our own highly optimized infrastructure as a service and platform as a service technologies that we use to manage probably one of the largest multi-cloud deployments in the entire world. In addition to that, we also do front-end development using technologies like React and Vue. We do native mobile development on both iOS and Android. And at the moment, my team doesn't directly work on machine learning algorithms, but we work very closely with our world-class AI team to productize and scale their work in order to bring it to our customers. So like I mentioned earlier, like we're a relatively new team and it kind of gives us the best of both worlds. And what I mean by that is on the one hand, we've been able to kind of stand on the shoulders of giants. So no matter what the subject matter is, you know, technical, business, or otherwise, there's world-class expertise within the Shein global organization that we're able to leverage to learn about topics that we're not familiar with. On the other hand, we've also had this privilege of being able to have lots of greenfield conversations with our business leaders about their top strategic priorities and their pain points. And a lot of what my team is doing is building brand new applications and systems from the ground up to address some of those needs. Because of that, you know, we highly prize technical proficiency, but some of the most important attributes to be successful on this team are, you know, a tremendous amount of open-mindedness and then also really strong communication skills. If we can go to the next slide, I'll start talking about some of the things that we're working on that I alluded to earlier. So next slide, please. One of our top strategic priorities is localization of our supply chain. So as you all know, Shein sort of pioneered the use of predictive demand forecasting to, you know, not only get our customers the products that they really want more quickly, but also to dramatically reduce supply chain waste. And what one of our more recent focuses as a company has been to take all of that a step further with supply chain localization. And there's two aspects of that I'll talk about. So the first one is we've been rapidly expanding the Shein marketplace, where third-party merchants can sell through Shein to customers on the Shein platform. And what that's gonna result in is over time, more of what you buy on Shein will be shipped to you directly from merchants and sellers in your region, sort of shortening the supply chain dramatically. Now I'm going to come back to this later. Another aspect of localization is very rapidly expanding our network of global distribution warehouses. So one of the things that we're trying to get better at is using predictive algorithms to stage popular products in the local market so that the things you buy are more likely to ship to you locally as opposed to from overseas. In fact, our goal in 2024 has been to double the number of U.S. orders that ship directly from a U.S. warehouse and not from overseas. Now, specifically, how my team is involved in that. Now, Shein has some of the largest distribution warehouses in the entire world, and in addition to floor space and you know, a vast number of staff, warehouse associates in those locations, we also have a ton of hardware. So that's anything from robots to tens of thousands of these handheld barcode scanners. We call them PDAs, that our associates use to scan orders as they go in and out warehouses. Now, at our scale, you can imagine that lost, defective, or misconfigured devices, it's going to be massively costly. Now, there are categories of commercial software, so device management or enterprise asset management software platforms that exist to help manage these types of devices. But at our footprint, the commercial software solutions that we looked at would cost millions of dollars a year, and none of them fully met our requirements. So what we decided to do was to build our own. So we've been in the process of building and launching Shein's own enterprise asset management platform called WearMe, where the goal is to make sure that all of these tens of thousands of devices globally are, online, able to properly connect to the network, properly configured, have up-to-date software. We're maintaining user accountability, so we know, which associate has checked out which device and where the device is in the warehouse, and a slew of other functionality. Now, because these devices run Android, like this is a true full stack development project. So we're doing, Android mobile app development using Kotlin. We have a React front end, and then we have our Java microservice backend. So it's been challenging, sort of wrangling all of those technologies that our team didn't necessarily have expertise in up front. It's been great to be able to lean on our global teams to help us come up to speed. But really, the hardest part of this initiative has been not the technical implementation side, but really, getting our hands dirty, understanding these complex industrial processes, and coordinating communication and requirements between all of these different operational teams, from enterprise IT to security to logistics and warehouse management. So that's a little bit about that. So if we go to the next slide, I can talk about sort of one of the other cool things that we've been working on. So product offerings. One fun fact that you may not have known is, even though like Shein brings uh, like like vastly more new products online every day than many of our competitors, we still like make an effort to make sure that a human product reviewer is able to vet every first party product that Shein sells in the US before it goes online. So humans are reviewing every new product to make sure that there's no intellectual property infringement, to make sure that there's no inappropriate content. And from the beginning, this product review team has had a sophisticated set of tools and machine learning algorithms that they lean on to facilitate the process. Now, where we've spent a lot of time recently is because with the Shein marketplace coming online, the marketplace has vastly increased the universe of products that need to be reviewed every day. So we've really had to, sort of up the ante on the technology that the product review team has at their fingertips, in order to review all of these, thousands of new products that are coming online. So to that end, our AI team, so a team that we work with very closely, they've been working on a new generation of AI algorithms that make use of techniques like multimodality. So, taking into account both the text and imagery and context in product listings, and also things like secure private large language models. So things like that, in order to improve the quality of the machine learning algorithms that we use for product review. At the same time, so working hand in hand with the AI team, our team on the software engineering side, we've been working on productization and scale, and also helping to create more optimized user experiences in the tools that our product review team uses. And I'm pleased to say, like some of this stuff has just recently gone online, but what we've seen from really early data is that with this new generation of algorithms and tools, a single human product reviewer can be more than 20 times more efficient than they were before. So they can review more than 20x the number of products per day that they previously could. So huge win for the business. And one thing I'll say here for folks who are really interested in getting into AI, but you maybe questioning whether you have the right background. In this day and age, every software engineer works on AI. Like you don't have to have a PhD, and even if you're not going deep into TensorFlow and PyTorch and creating these machine learning algorithms, like in order for those machine learning algorithms to actually help anyone, they need to be integrated into production application software, and that's a large part of the mandate of my team. So let's go to the next slide. So finally, I wanted to talk a little bit again, like on the topic of our Shein marketplace, on what we're doing to help create a more seamless experience and a more seamless relationship between our customers and these new third-party sellers that we're bringing on board into the Shein marketplace. One thing that I'll say about this particular initiative, that's also like something that you should think about embarking on a software engineering career is, in addition to creating custom software, like building software from scratch, one of the sort of biggest components of this task for our team was to evaluate and work with and ultimately integrate APIs from these best of breed third-party vendors. So specifically, what we did here was we started a process to assess third-party vendors that could help us do things like merchant identity verification. So we want to make sure that new merchants that want to sell on the Shein marketplace are who they say they are. We also looked at vendors for things like payment transaction monitoring. So we want to make sure that when there's a payment from a customer through the Shein marketplace to these third-party vendors, that flow of funds is completely seamless and flawless. And because there are companies out there that focus on these types of things at scale, we took a look at third-party vendors that could satisfy our scale and our security, privacy, and compliance requirements. And ultimately, we went through vendor selection and integration with Shein's transaction and payment and monitoring systems. So a lot of this stuff is new and just coming online. So I don't have too many stats to share, but one sort of key insight from this project that I really want to share is, oftentimes with these sorts of initiatives, the vendor assessment piece, the coordination and planning, that part actually ends up being an order of magnitude more effort and more work than the final act of writing the code to integrate this set of third-party APIs. But in my many years of experience, it's a large part of large-scale software engineering. And this particular initiative is just an example of that. So with that, I will hand it back to Cam.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was a great presentation. Very interesting stuff. And I did just want to highlight, that we are continuing to grow. And as we're continuing to scale the teams up, through this year and next, I wanted to move to the next slide, and we can show some of our current openings. These positions are active postings that we have live right now. And I would always refer you to look at our career site or LinkedIn page. Specifically for our technology positions, you're going to want to go on LinkedIn on Shein Technology. And those jobs will always reflect our current openings. And, you can look at the descriptions, apply for those that are, well suited for your background. And then if there is a specific role that, you're most interested in, I always encourage, candidates to maybe set a job alert for that. And you can be notified if that opportunity opens up with Shein Technology. So at the very end of the presentation, my LinkedIn will be shown. Again, my name's Cameron, and I would encourage you to, in parallel with applying, you can reach out to me directly. Over LinkedIn is always a good way to do that, and I'd be more than happy to connect. We're going to do a little Q&A right now, and if you have any further questions, you can continue to add them to the chat. Thank you, guys.
All right. Just a reminder that you can drop questions in the Q&A section, and you can upvote questions that you want to hear Daniel and Cameron answer. I'm going to start with the top voted question, which says, does Shein accept OPT or CPT for internships and new grad roles? When will Shein SWE internships come out? I know you were talking a little bit about open roles, Cameron, but maybe you can elaborate a little more.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And with visas in general, we always do want to attract, a diverse set of candidates. And, I know that in the past, I've worked with a lot of candidates with all sorts of backgrounds. And with student visas specifically, that's generally something that we can work with without much issue. But, when you speak with the talent acquisition partner regarding the opportunity, it's always good to be transparent and, we could address your specific situation at that time. And then specifically in regards to internship opportunities, we did this year have summer interns for each of our technology teams. And that was, opened up, I think, for the job postings a few months beforehand. So for next year, I would encourage you set a job alert or keep your eye on the Shein Technologies career site, and you'll be able to see the internships once posted.
Thank you. The next question says, does Shein hire for data science and software engineering new grad roles?
With that, data science specifically, you would have to look on our careers page to see if there's an active posting, for that. I know that currently I'm not aware of any data science positions that we have open, but if there is a need and we are open to someone that has, fewer years of experience, you can see that posting. And it's always, not a bad idea, even if the position has more experience, listed on the job description, you can always apply, reach out directly, and there's a potential chance that, we'd be able to take a candidate that might, grow into a more senior role.
Yeah, I would say like in general, like we don't rule out new grads. Like we've had some amazing new grads join the team, including this past summer through the internship program. But yeah, to Cam's point, like refer to our job postings for hiring needs at any given time.
Awesome. Thank you both. Next question is from Rohan, who says, does getting a referral from a current Shein employee boost the chances of getting an interview for an internship or new grad role?
It's a great question, and I would say plainly, yes. If you have someone that and regarding a specific opportunity, we do have a referral program, and of course we do treat candidates fairly with the interview process, but it's never a bad thing to have a referral that with the company.
And then can you talk more about what that referral process looks like?
That's a internal process that we have within our organization to incentivize that. Just like many companies, referrals can be submitted internally, and then you would apply for the specific position. But if there's a specific role and someone that it's never a bad thing to reach out to them, get a better sense, and have them put you in contact with either the recruiter or just submitting that applying, and then they would submit the internal referral.
Awesome. Next question is from Camila. I hope I'm saying that right. What can we expect from the interview process for full-time roles?
Yeah, that's also a great question. All of our interview processes consist of a similar structure. An initial interview with the manager, and then an on-site interview. But Dan, if you wanted to share a little bit about what your specific interview process looked like, that'd be great.
Yeah, so on the technical front, we'll do a couple of live coding interviews. So the first one will be more practical, like, hey, can you build a web application that does X, or a microservice that does X, while I watch you do it. Most candidates actually have a lot of fun with that one. In addition to that, we'll also do like a whiteboard coding interview, so kind of more, lead code style. And then we'll do system design as well. And like in general, like that's kind of what the technical portion looks like. But depending on the specific role or level of seniority, we may have variations on that.
Thank you for elaborating more on that. Next question, also from Camila, says, how does working with the international team work, and do you work on West Coast hours day to day?
That's a great question. I know that our core hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For in-office work. Of course, depending on the team, some teams may come in a bit earlier, leave a bit earlier, or a bit later. But Dan, I know that your team does do some work with the overseas team. If you wanted to share.
Yeah, so if you're in a more like operations focused team, like if you're in SRE, for instance, they have to kind of follow the sun and support Shein around the clock. So some of those teams like have a little bit more eclectic work hours. On the software engineering side, like most people work regular business hours in the office, and occasionally there will be like an evening meeting, or with somebody in Asia, or an early morning meeting with somebody in Europe, but it's not a regular thing. Or we try not to make it a regular thing, because it nobody likes that. So like in general, like if you're on a software engineering team, like you'll be working regular West Coast business hours.
All right. Next question is for Dan, someone wants to know, what did you major in? I know Cameron said he majored in economics.
Oh, computer science. Surprise, surprise.
Awesome. On to the next question. All right. Question from Rohan. With such heavy turnover with your products compared to other marketplaces and short product life cycles, what kinds of problems does that pose for your devs?
I think that Dan would be most qualified to answer this one.
Wow, that's a really interesting question, and I think it's some of these problem areas that I talked about earlier. Um, like we just have a many more products, virtually flowing through our our infrastructure, and a lot more physical inventory, like flowing through our warehouses in real life than a typical company that in the retail space. So really, like the challenge is just scale. Like nobody else in fast fashion um, uh, uh, brings online anywhere near the number of new products on a daily basis as Shein does. So the conventional wisdom from other organizations doesn't really apply here. Like we've had to build a lot of things from the ground up. Like even like I mentioned, like we have our own custom PaaS solution and our own custom, infrastructure as a service solution for managing our multi-cloud deployments. That's necessitated by the scale, right? And this custom device management solution that my team is working on now, that's also necessitated by the scale. So like if you want to work on problems that are bigger than you're likely to see anywhere else, this is the place to come and hang out.
Very cool. Hopefully that answered your question, Harry. That was a really great question. Thank you for sharing that one. A question from Theola. As you expand your team and recruit for technical roles, how do you ensure that your design processes remain innovative and original, especially in light of concerns about similarities with other brands?
You mean the design like product design, like or technical design?
Theola, if you want to add a little bit more context for your question in the chat, that would probably be helpful.
I think I can speak to technical
Mhm.
design first. Like basically, like one of the ways that we do it is by bringing multiple different perspectives to bear on each problem. So, like the advantage of having this global team, it means that when we come up with new technical designs, first of all, like we always are very collaborative with our technical design process, and because we have so many diverse perspectives from all over the world, people from different backgrounds. It does help to drive innovation in the technical design process. I think part of it too is uh, we're a very flat organization. Both like from an HR perspective, like there aren't many layers between individual contributors and top level management. But practically speaking, like if you're a new grad joining the team as an IC, you can have a conversation with one of our global executives. You could just start a chat with them and share your ideas and get their feedback. And a lot of major like initiatives have started that way. So the company's built for a diverse set of perspectives, and we encourage communication and conversation about everything that we do, but in particular technical design. And I think that helps to keep the innovation level high.
Thank you for that. I'm skipping around a bit on the questions because I want to get a good mix of technical and then questions about hiring. So thank you for answering the last few, Dan. This might be more of a question for Cameron. What are some requirements or experiences you look for in candidates? Do grad students have better opportunities to get hired for internships than undergrads? That's from Hipa.
That's a really good question. I think it really depends on the role, of course. In general, of course, you want to have experience that aligns with what's listed in the job description. But by no means is a graduate degree a requirement for most positions. I think that there may be some technical roles that may be more of an advantage for. But making yourself stand out, I think it's always a good idea to curtail your resume accordingly, but also reaching out directly, like I said before, adding a personal touch. If you know someone within the organization, kind of networking that way, and making yourself stand out, I think it's also a good call. Maintain the relationship over time. Even if there isn't something listed like currently, you can always reach out to me or someone here at the company and start the conversation earlier than if something comes up down the line or when you graduate. That's always something you can pick up again.
Awesome. I'm going to also tag on this question that you answered the first part of it already, but someone wants to know, what does Shein look for, which you kind of just spoke on, but how does it track the growth of new hires in reviews?
That's a good question too. So with performance, I know that we across the company do look at performance biannually, for the first half and the second half, and you would work depending on the team, with your manager and more senior leadership on setting goals and then touching base midway through, and then ultimately evaluating how you performed. Pretty standard as it is in most organizations, and it's a pretty dynamic environment. So things oftentimes will change. But as far as setting goals, that's always something that you would work with your direct manager on, and making sure that you have clear expectations on what is expected.
Yeah, I would add that we make an effort to be very, very data driven in everything that we do, but on the performance and evaluation front too. Basically, everybody in the organization has KPIs and OKRs. Part of the job of the management team and the HR team is to help everybody in the organization to formulate those KPIs and OKRs in a way that's not only good for the business, but also helps to foster your career. But it's nice to it was great for me, like when I first joined this organization, to see how data driven it is.
Awesome. Thank you both. Next question is from Harry. Harry wants to know, given Shein's rapid global expansion, how does the engineering team handle internalization and localization challenges across different markets and languages?
So that's a fantastic question. Like a lot of it actually predates my involvement with the company, though. I can't really speak to it based on any firsthand experience. But if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I may be able to find somebody who can have a conversation with you about that.
All right. Next question is from Alex. For back-end cloud or infra-related roles, how important is having AI or ML experience? Would having a RAG app of some sort be a better signal than, say, a CRUD app? Would not having AI ML be a red flag?
I don't think like there aren't any like hard and fast rules in terms of what we look for. I would say that like because of the advances of the last couple of years, AI has become so accessible that even if you haven't done anything with AI before, like if you're a really awesome software engineer, it's not too hard for you to get your feet wet and become productive. Basically, like if you join this team, you will be working with AI. Like even if it's not directly on building machine learning algorithms, but I wouldn't say that it's necessary that you've done it before. Because if you have a strong software engineering background, otherwise, there's a much lower barrier to entry now. Like I think it's the last couple of years has really been revolutionary in terms of democratizing AI and making it more accessible to anybody who's willing to put in the elbow grease.
Thanks, Dan, for that answer. Another question from Harry: is she in research and dev looking at potential emerging technologies like augmented reality to enhance the shopping experience?
So I can't speak to specific future product directions. I will say, like, if you joined the company, you'd be more than welcome to like our U.S. president, for instance, like welcomes anybody to walk into his office with ideas like that. So it's it like we love people who are constantly coming up with innovative ideas, and the executive team loves to hear them.
Thanks, Dan. Next question: are L2 roles appropriate for spring 24 grads with internship experience? Do you need me to read that one again?
With that question, L2, Dan, if you could remind me, what does that leveling refer to?
I'm not sure exactly, but I would say it's going to depend on the individual. So like there aren't really any hard and fast rules for what we look for. Like we try to match like each individual applicant profile with the roles that are available at the time. But in our past summer's internship program, we had like a pretty wide spectrum of participants. So some folks who were undergrad, like some folks in graduate programs, some folks who had industry experience who had then gone back into a graduate program, and they were all awesome. Like basically, what we look for is folks who we think are going to be innovative and productive as Sheiners, and then depending on your experience, we can kind of tailor the expectations of the internship to your background.
And I will say similarly, for positions, if you just have internship experience, you might not have like the years of experience for a position that is non-internship, more of a mid-level position. You can always apply, and I know that that could be something that you could come in as. The position might be curtailed a bit, for your specific experience. But by no means, just having internship experience, does that limit you, from pursuing one of our non-intern roles as well.
Yeah, and I'll also add, like, even if you're not presently looking, or we're not presently looking, definitely connect with us on LinkedIn, like myself, Cam, like anybody else, who works at Shein, because like I know the first thing that I do, like when I'm hiring for a new role, is I search my own network. So that's all, I think that's always the best place to start.
I think that's really good advice. Next question is from Latana. What measures has Shein put in place to maintain the sustainability of the improvements from using predictive analytics?
Oh, so that's a big topic. Um, Sustainability of improvements of the predictive analytics. So you mean the sustainability of the model improvements, and not sustainability as a general topic, right? I would say, like, I've never been in an organization that's more data driven. So we have a huge team that's dedicated to big data engineering and big data analytics. So everything that happens in a Shein customer's entire lifecycle, or a Shein merchant's entire lifecycle, is quantified and analyzed. So, and if anything is off, like if we detect anomalies in any part of the process, machine learning algorithm or otherwise, alerts go off, and people get woken up at 3 in the morning to deal with those situations. So we make an effort to use um, uh, data and tooling and processes to make sure that we make improvements that are sustainable.
All right. Dan, I'm going to throw another question at you. This is to Daniel from another Daniel. And he wants to know, you mentioned earlier that every software engineer works on AI these days. Are there any unique or innovative ways you've leveraged AI in your role?
Personally, so I actually get a lot of assistance from AI in day-to-day coding tasks. So I'm sure all of you have experience with using ChatGPT, or like GitHub Copilot to get projects started. And I think that's awesome. Like, obviously, like, you shouldn't let the AI finish the project for you, but like to kind of bootstrap that first 80%. I do it every day. Like figuring out the syntax of things, or sometimes even assessing vendor trade-offs, and technology trade-offs. Like, there's a lot of knowledge out there that's been learned by some of these large language models. One thing that I will say is, you always have to be careful with your data when leveraging AI solutions. So at Shein, like we do use large language models, but for the most part, we're using our own private and secure large language models, or enterprise licenses to language models, because it's very important to us that customer data is protected and doesn't leak out into the world. And even during the software development process, there's a danger of that happening. So you just have to be very aware and careful leveraging these tools. And for the most part, we're very careful. Another thing I would say is, just as a personal productivity hack, Perplexity has kind of taken Google's place as my default search engine. Just for general stuff that I need to know, and it's come a long way.
Nice. Next question is, what are some traits of early career talent, SWE or any other tech roles, that you prioritize, and who have you been proud to add to the team after their work? That's an awesome question.
I think inquisitiveness and open-mindedness are definitely traits that we look for. I mean, just as an example, like I mentioned that we do like a live coding exercise, right? Uh, there are folks who kind of implement it to the letter, and that's great, right? Like, but then there are folks who go for the extra credit points, right? Like they start writing unit tests, or they try to make the UI look really nice and like really think about usability, or they try to start thinking about application security. So like generally like folks who will kind of ask what's next, and take the next step on their own. um I personally love those traits, and I found that just because like this is such a new and fast moving environment, that ability to independently take the next step and independently find the information that you need, as opposed to just kind of waiting for a spec to be handed to you. Like that's really important in this organization. Like in some larger companies, the expectation is, I just need to um, it implement the spec to the letter, right? Like the decisions have been made elsewhere. Shein is a very large organization, but we're not like that at all. Like you'll find that the level of autonomy that's required, and you know because of the global organization, the communication skills that are required are more akin to what you might expect in an early stage startup.
Thank you for that. I know we're getting close to the end of the session. This one seems like it might be quick. Jason wants to know, since Shein is a Chinese company, would my fluency in Chinese and understanding of the Chinese culture be helpful in collaborating with executives or teams here?
You know,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it never hurts, but across the board in general, that's never going to be a requirement. Certainly, could be leveraged, I'm sure, at some positions more than others. But yeah, Dan, if you wanted to pick up that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the same thing. Like it's n- never hurts is I think the right word, but day to day, like my team like does business like 100% in English, and most of our collaboration with other US based teams is 100% English too. There are a lot of kind of legacy documents like in Confluence, for example, that maybe in Chinese, but like it's nothing that the Google Translate can't solve. And over time, a lot of those older documents are kind of being obsoleted anyways, and replaced with new ones that are more suitable for our international team.
All right. Thank you both. We are at the end of our session, so I'm going to end the questions there. Thank you so much to Dan and Cameron for a fantastic presentation. Please thank them in the chat for taking time out of their evening to talk to us today. And then I believe there will be a feedback survey posted that you all can fill out to give us feedback on the session today. So thank you both so much for joining, and thank you to everyone for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay tuned for a video from Bobby D.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this session. I got some information before you leave. It says, please take a moment to complete a brief survey to share your feedback. Remember how valuable feedback is. I'm trying to come back 3 years in a row, and it's all based on feedback, right? To see what comes up next, I want you to head back to the main stage and check out the schedule. See you soon in the next set of sessions.